Alright guys, Norcold 611 LT, and I had a condition where the refrigerator freezer was not getting cool, and the first thing I did was check the thermistor, and it seemed to check out okay. There's been several videos about that, but you can basically hold it in the palm of your hand or put it in some ice water and check the ohm resistance, but turned out that that wasn't an issue. So I came out here and I checked my outlet on AC side because I was running it on AC, and I had 117, 118 volts right here at the outlet, so I knew that was good. Just to be safe, I checked the other end of the AC cord. It also gave me 118. The next thing was to check the ammonia, see if it was heating. So these two little black wires that feed that, I checked that and there's no power there. So that tells me that I'm not getting power out of this board to come over and heat this. So I've got a problem on the AC side. Now I've checked that little fuse there on the AC side and it's good. So it's not that. But just to confirm, I flipped to LP gas and came out here and looked, and you can see the flame burning. So the LP side now is lighting. However, when I opened it, there's a big old hornet's nest in there. So I had to clean that out just by removing that little cover. It's got a little peephole you can look through. But I removed the cover and blew that out, cleaned it out, and then it lit for me. So you can see now the LP side is lit here. So I suspect now it's going to heat the ammonia. And we're going to have a refrigerator, which says that the AC side probably of that board is bad. It could be here, might be on the inside, but I suspect it's out here, but we'll find out. I'm gonna track it down, more to come. But let's see now with this running, we'll let that run for a while and see if it won't start cooling the refrigerator down. Then we'll come back. All right, more to come. Since I'm already working on this refrigerator, Norcold 611, I thought I would insert this, even though there are many videos about this, but you can see I'm running now on LP and I'm getting a single blink, and that's because I have my thermistor removed. And the thermistor is on the 10th fin, and I just took the light cover off and unplugged it. Here it is. Here's the little clip. It clips on this and clips it onto the fin. You can see it's rusty, so I got me a little sandpaper. I'm going to sand it down. Now to test this, you're basically going to put your probes here on these two, and you're going to take an ohm reading. And I just cup this as a quick test in my hand and do a reading. And then I've dropped this also in some ice water, and it works. I watched my ohm ratings. You'll see, you can look up and see specifically what it should be at what temperature, but I know this is good because I've watched my ohm ratings as it changed. When I dropped it in ice water, it went down to almost 32. And then when I cup it in my hand, but you don't know how to set your meter on ohms. I've got mine set now in ohms, and you literally just would take your probes and probe it, and I can't do it with one hand to show you, but maybe I can come back and capture a reading here once I insert the probes. With my probes just gently inserted, I just wanted to just basically show you that I'm cupping this in my hand, and you can see the ohm rating change. And if I were to dip that now in cold water, you'd see a rapid change. So that's an indication it's working. Like I said, look at your service manual. It'll tell you the exact readings and temperatures and so forth. But I know this is not my issue, so I'm going to move on. But I thought I would insert this in here as a guide, just as a reference, so you can check this if you need to. Okay, now you can see it's no longer doing the backup operations, and that stopped blinking because I've now reinstalled my thermistor here. Now I plugged it back in, put it on the 10th fin for this particular refrigerator, and snapped the little connector for the light bulb, so I'm gonna have to order a little replacement piece. This thing is old and fragile, but the thermistor is installed, and we've got it fired up on the LP as we continue to track down our problem on the AC side. All right, guys, I'm also out here and I'm checking the heating element that goes up through here, and I got it on ohm setting, and I'm checking with probing, and I'm 44 ohms, so I don't think the heating element is the problem. It's looking more and more to me like I've got a board problem. All right, so while I'm here, I'm gonna clean this all up, and I've got my little control board disconnected. I'm gonna go through this carefully and check everything just to make sure, resolve all the issues. All right, now let's talk some more about refrigerator. In my case, this is Norcold 611, two-way. Some refrigerators, like in my casita, is a three-way, but this two-way, basically it has an electrical side and it has an LP side. And I've got it unplugged here. I have my battery cable unplugged also, the negative side, because I'm working on this. And if you've watched some of the earlier video, you know what I'm running into. I've got it to where it's working, appears to be working on the LP side, but was not working on the AC side. And I decided I'm going to do a breakdown, a cleanup, and do it right, get it fixed. What I did though is, in an earlier video, I tested this and I had 118 volts. Where it plugs, where the 110 plugs onto the board here, it also had 110. So this is, by the way, a board 628661. And there was a previous version of this board you may have. If you do, you'll have 16 pin connectors down here. On this bottom connector. You can see on mine I've got 10. It's a 10 pin. And so in general, the first thing you want to do is check on the right side. Here's a little 5 amp fuse for the DC side of operations. And then there's a 5 amp AG here for the 110 AC side. And I checked those were good, both fuses, but that's one of the first things you'd want to check. Check your fuses, and they are okay. Again, this board has just the 2 fuses. I think the previous board has 3 fuses, but now I'm just going to give you some general pointers that might help you if you have a problem with your unit. Now, for the AC side and for the heating element component, in terms of heating this ammonia's in this tank, you got a heating element, and it sits inside this plenum-like, and you can open it up, and there is an opening up at the very top, and all of these have a little trap door up top that you can open to access. This is what your heating element looks like. It's just a bar with 2 wires, and polarity doesn't matter. But that gets pushed down in here, and then those wires are fed over, and you have a high and a low point. Now on this board, there's 2 high points and 2 low points. I just use high point 1 and low point 1 to plug them up. So if you decide that you want to test your heating element, one of the easiest ways, you can do this, you don't have to take it out to test it, but I set it up so I could show you. Put your meter over on the ohm setting, which I've got the horseshoe ohm setting, and take an ohms reading. And you can see I've got an ohms of 44, and I believe that is, according to Norcold, I believe that's within specs, meaning this is a good element. So there's nothing wrong with that heating element. But I got it out just to show you that it does have a saddle it sits in here. And those can be a booger to get out. If you do decide you need to take your heating element out, you may need to use some penetrant or some T9 or something. I got some of both. I used a little T9, but I did have to give it a little push and pull and twist and turn and fight with it. And I did get it out, but that element, remember, goes here, and those two wires that's on the end of that element, like I said, one goes to the high point, one goes to the low point. Now, continuing my test, what I did was I tested here. I tested the plug on the board, it was fine, but my high and low points, when I took a reading on them, I got nothing, which is an indicator to me that this board probably has a problem. But I'm still testing, and I thought I'd capture some more updated information for you. Now, I switched over to LP and it started heating. So another indication that kind of tells me that I probably got a problem on the 110 side of the board. Again, the fuse is good. However, while I'm here, I'll show you too, if you go in there and your refrigerator is blinking codes, which it does often if it has a problem, it tries to let you know what the issue is. And I think one of the common ones is a lockout code. What happens is that in the case of Norcold, they let you reset inside one time and then it puts it into lockout mode. And for you to get it out of lockout mode depends on your board, but you can pigtail on a 628661. You can pigtail just a little wire right here in the second from the right. It's blank. Push you a piece of wire in there, and then come down to your AC ground here and ground that. And in about 10 seconds, that thing will reset. You'll hear it click. It'll reset and take it out of lockout mode. Now, if you saw the earlier section I showed you on the thermistor inside, that if you were to take the thermistor out of your refrigerator, then it basically says to the refrigerator, go full force. It will blink one code about every 3 seconds. When you put that thermistor back in, that'll stop and it'll be a solid green. And there's plenty of videos on testing the thermistor. You can hold it in the palm of your hand and take an ohms reading, the same reading that I showed you earlier. Watch it, and if you, a lot of people you'll see put it in a cup of cold ice water, and they'll watch it plummet, and it'll get down to like 32. But the spec manual will tell you, if you look up your service manual for your particular model, this happens again to be a Norcold 611. Anyway, that's just some general overviews. Now, my next step here at this point is to continue testing on the 110 side. Like I said, I've got LP going and I'm zeroing in on that, but hopefully this video was helpful. Now, if you did have an ammonia leak and you suspected maybe your cooling unit was bad, you would probably be seeing some residual, like a yellow residual or something where there had been a leak. But there's no evidence of that, so I don't think the cooling unit's a problem. Also, when I put it on the LP side, this does get hot and warm up and acts as it should, and it's just only on the 110 side for me. So I'll come back with another video once I've finally diagnosed it, but this could be helpful to you if you have an RV and you happen to be working on it, and you know the oddities of these RV refrigerators sometimes scares you. But just make sure you have no power source when you get out here working on this stuff. I have no power at the post, no power here. The battery is disconnected, so be safe. And thanks for watching.